And like at the time, I'm like, this kid is retarded, right? And then now, fast forward 20 something years, I was right. You are retarded. My name's Derek, Bootleg Tuning. I want to start a podcast because I really like talking to people, and I have a lot of interesting people that I work with, that I come into contact with every day. I don't know what I'm doing, right? First shout out is Jimmy Oaks for giving me this whole podcast setup, right? So shout out Jimmy. He's the man, yeah. And so my goal for this whole thing is kind of like a Rogan style. I'm not really interested in the specifics of the racing. I think that's pretty public, and you could kind of get that information really anywhere. I'm more interested in these guys' stories, right? Like, you know, we all see these people on the internet. We all know them from whatever, but very rarely do we get to hear the stories, you know? So that's kind of my focus on this deal. I find that to be more interesting than a lot of the other stuff. And naturally, my first guest is Noah, right? He was the first car on my dyno, my main line when I got it. And that seems to not be doing terrible for me. So I figured, why break tradition? Get my boy Noah here. So if you don't know, Noah, and John Little have been best friends for 20 years.
Something like that.
Yeah. High school, middle school almost. You know, we've had a shop together. The three of us had a shop for almost 10 years together. We all kind of split up and did our own thing, but are still very, very well connected. So, yeah, that's about it. So I have Noah here.
Hello.
Say hi, Noah.
Hey.
You know, a lot of you guys know that. Can you put your fucking phone on silent? God damn.
It's nothing important anyways.
Oh, I'm sure it's nothing important. So tell me a little bit about yourself, Noah. Where are you from? How old are you? How many kids you got? How many baby mamas you got?
Whew.
Yeah, let's just run through the basics real quick.
Get my list out.
Yeah.
Remember.
Yeah.
Noah Stein, owner of Simple Concept Race Cars. My shop is out of East Haddam, Connecticut. I live in Westbrook. Most of you probably know me from my racing, the Orange Malibu Rotten Tomato. Travel all around, no prep style stuff. I'm kind of a track racing hater, I guess you could say. Not a hater, but
no, hater.
A hater, yeah.
That's accurate. That's accurate.
I got all bad things to say about it. Hate the people, hate the cars.
Yeah, all the complaining. We need good prep.
Yeah. Blame it on the track.
Blame it on the track.
In all reality, track racing is cool too, but it's just I probably just can't afford it. That's the main thing. But yeah, I mean, that's about it. Kids and baby mamas. I got one baby mama.
One baby mama, one baby?
One baby mama. Jody, amazing woman. We just had our first child, Jack Stein. He's now 5.5 months. Coolest thing in the world.
Yeah, that's the best thing
ever. It's awesome.
Yeah.
So just kind of learn as we go. You know, we don't know how to do this, but we're figuring it out.
What, the kid thing?
The kid thing.
Oh, dude. So I have a 2-year-old. It amazes me even still that, you know, you make a baby, really just being a degenerate, right?
Oh, yeah. That's the easy part.
That's the easy part.
Yeah.
You have this baby, and they just ship you home, right? And there's no amount of research. I mean, we did a bunch of research, as I'm sure you and Jody did, right? But nothing can prepare you for what you're getting yourself into other than doing it. And I got to be honest with you, I don't know how our parents did it without Google.
Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah, you kind of just wing it at that point, I guess.
And honestly, it seems like it was probably better that way.
Yeah.
Because the current generation, not great.
Yeah, you got to follow all the new ways of parenting. And
yeah, you can't beat the shit out of them.
Yeah, that's...
You know?
Not like it used to be.
Not like the old days, you know? So, yeah, just a little backstory. Me, John, and Noah, we had a shop way in the woods. It was like a 10,000 square foot warehouse, uninsulated, sheet metal building, no heat, no running water, no bathroom. And we had that probably from 2009 to...
No, it was later than that. It was like 2013.
Okay.
12, 13, something like that.
Right.
And then we kind of, as time went on, it was probably like, I'd say 5 years into it, 4 years, 5 years, we were all doing like the same thing, working on cars, side work, whatever, also our hobbies. But we then started quitting our jobs and wanting to go full-time and be more professional. And that shop wasn't really for it, for the professional level.
Right.
Or I guess we realized after we quit our jobs that it's not the right place to be. But anyways, each of us slowly went off. I think John did it first.
Yep.
He went legit, got a shop down the street here.
Yeah, John was legit a certified electrician.
Yeah.
Like, John had the most to lose out of all of us.
Definitely.
And he was the first one to quit his job. And at the very beginning, he was working full-time in that shop.
Well, he was like an apprentice type for a while, like a paid apprentice type. And then he got his
Electrician
licensing.
apprentice.
Right.
Yeah.
But then he got like his licensing or whatever it is where you had to like be certified or whatever.
Right.
And he put a bunch of effort into it, did all his studying, did the test, which from what I hear is not easy.
Right.
Got it, started getting paid more, and then like a couple months later he's like, I don't want to do this. I want to work on race cars.
Yep.
And then I think he started out kind of working in that shop doing it, and then just realized like if I'm going to keep doing this and move more forward, I got to get a more professional spot.
Right. So then John actually got his shop up here. We're in Wallingford, Connecticut, and John got his shop up here first. Mm-hmm. And then it was just me and Noah in the original shop, and our boy Chucky.
Yep.
Shout out Chucky, Wild Chucky.
Which is still there holding the place down.
Yeah, Chucky's still holding the place down.
The Lone Ranger.
The Lone Ranger. And then, so it was just basically me and Noah at that point, and then me and Noah quickly figured out we don't like to be around each other that much. Right? And it took John leaving. I'm a mess. Noah's very organized, and it just didn't work out. And I remember, like having like a forefront thought of like, if I don't move out, me and Noah aren't going to be friends anymore.
Right.
Like
we were butting heads pretty good.
Yeah. And I'm like, I saw the writing on the wall, right? And then it also made sense for me, right?
Definitely.
Because I was getting busy.
Yeah.
Tuning cars. So then I came up here to Wallingford. Actually, just no. I had another shop right across the way, but basically in the shop that I'm in now.
But you were also using a dyno locally here.
Yeah, I was
using.
It
made sense to be here as well.
I was using Ken Cartuccio's. Maybe even at the time I was using Max dyno.
Well, it started as Ken's, and then you went over to Max.
And then Max left.
Mac got the nice main line.
Right.
Which works better.
Right.
Which is what you own now.
Right.
And then you bought your main line and then moved it in here.
Yep. So and then John's literally right down the street from me. You're pretty far away. You're kind of over where the original shop was, which is, as far as mileage goes, is probably only 20 miles away. But there's just no good way to get there.
Exactly.
Right. There's no straight highway there, so it takes forever to get there. So we probably don't meet up as much as we should, but we definitely talk as much as we should. And because he has Jack. And he's 5.5 months, and I have my second daughter Olivia, and she's 4 months. And then I try to impose my thoughts onto Noah of how he should raise his child, although I think he's probably doing a pretty good job without me. And
input's always good.
Yeah,
I always take it.
Yeah, I mean, you go on the internet and you read about it, and everybody's fucking perfect.
Oh yeah,
everybody's the most perfect parent. No screen time.
Yeah.
What they only eat organic fruit hand picked from their garden in the back. You know what I mean? Like, it's just not reality.
No.
And we me and Jen tried with Julia. We tried really hard, but dude, You just can't. You got to live in reality. But you guys seem like you're crushing it.
Yeah, it's working great.
Let me tell you, Jack's a good-looking babe, and I'm not just saying that because you're my boy, right? Because me and my wife are very judgmental about how good babes look.
Yeah.
You got a good babe.
Thank you.
That's a hot rod right there.
That's a hot rod.
That's a hot rod.
He is an awesome kid. He looks great looking kid.
Yeah. So, I know you know I'm a big podcaster now, right? So I can't say
No.
No, that's a.
And if you do, just edit it out.
Yeah, I'm just gonna bleep it. Yeah, I'm just gonna edit it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys didn't hear shit. So
I love that car.
Which car is it?
The Beretta. So you're seeing that a lot lately is like people trying to go to tube chassis stuff.
Yeah.
But what's tough is there's not many purpose-built like small tire tube chassis cars.
No.
They're all old school, square tube, long control arm,
Right.
4-link cars, but like Berettas and stuff like that were like a big car back then to use.
Right. You gotta stay a little bit closer to the mic. That's so loud. When you grab that thing, it is so loud, dude.
It's all right. I can't hear it because I don't have these on.
Yeah. He refuses to have the headphones on because it's just not his style, he says.
They're weird to me. It echoes. I don't like it. I don't like the echo.
But as far as the tube chassis stuff goes, anytime I see like a Beretta or a Lumina, I think like 1991 Pro Mod racing, and that's honestly probably what those cars are from.
Yeah, or just bracket racing.
Yeah. But I think Ken at one point told me that the Luminas and the Berettas were like the car.
The Ford Probes.
Yeah, maybe.
It seemed to be all like, because those were all like front wheel drive cars.
Yeah, I don't know what the motivation was behind them.
Maybe they were just real cheap or something.
I'm sure it has something to do with wheelbase.
Yeah.
You know.
I know like front bumper length has a lot to do with racing.
Overhang and stuff,
yeah.
So back to the origin story, right? So it was me, John, and Noah sitting in a shop way far away, and we all kind of split up. But before that happened, before we all split up, and the split up wasn't, there was
nothing bad about it.
Yeah, nothing shady.
We were just
nothing,
all trying to get more professional, and
really what it boiled down to was that shop sucked.
Yeah.
That shop was very poorly lit. It was massive. It was legitimately 10,000 square feet.
Yeah.
It had no heat, no insulation. It was like whatever temperature it was outside, it was inside, right? And it was just dirty. Oh, yeah, the dirt parking lot. Oh, dude. So, all right, so before we all split up, right, we started with Hondas. I hate to say that. I might have to edit this part out. Yeah.
No, don't.
Leave it in?
Yeah.
Let it cook, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll just let the internet have this one. But
that's where our whole racing
that's really where it started. I hate to admit it because I really hate those cars now. But
the way we were into them was different. It wasn't like
I think we just think that because
no, it was different. It was different.
Explain yourself.
So like there's different versions of Hondas, and I don't mean to say this in a bad way to like other I shouldn't really explain it like that. You got to go with it now. Certain Honda groups, the people, are just kind of a bad crowd. Whatever. I think we were more into like the racing part of it and like the performance part and just drag racing in general. Whereas I think there's other parts of the Honda crowd that is like your racers that are trying to do your car meets and loud systems and fart cans and stuff like that. We were trying to like make horsepower. Not that we're making much horsepower with them, but still like I was like 17, 18 years old and I bought a eBay turbo kit for my car. Eggnog
V1, dude.
So Eggnog V1 was a 89 Civic hatchback. I got the thing. Okay. Back it up a little bit. My first car, 92 Acura Integra, and you remember the black one.
So that's about where
when we met.
That's when because you got hit by the guy in the Jeep.
I crashed in it. I caused the whole accident.
You pulled out in front of him.
Yeah.
And he basically T-boned you.
It was...
I didn't know you when this happened. I think I met you...
I ran a stop sign in the middle at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Listen, he hit you, all right, as far as I'm concerned.
Okay, we'll call it that.
Fuck that guy.
Okay.
Okay? You know,
and he was drunk, so it's his fault.
Dude, he's drunk
Yeah.
Driving?
Yeah.
Are we serious?
Right. I can run a stop sign at that point. It's okay.
I mean, listen, dude.
Yeah.
I mean,
so that's what happened. The car was totaled, and so I ended up, and that had the good 1.8 non-VTEC motor in it.
oh, the B18.
With the good
B18A1.
A1.
Yeah.
With the good transmission in it, everything I needed. So I went and
I don't know if you were going to call out the good transmission, open diff LS gearing. Come on.
You know what kind of chicken leggers those will do?
Okay.
So I then, after I crashed, that was like a week later, I found this Civic sitting in somebody's yard. It was literally like in the woods. And that's how I find my stuff. Sitting in a yard. I went and I knocked on the guy's door. He was super weird.
What year is this?
80. The car or when it happened?
When did this all happen? Give me a time frame.
2004, 2005.
Yeah.
Something like that. Got that car. Knocked on the guy's door. Offered him $50. He said sold.
$50.
$50.
That was cheap even back then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I dragged it out of the woods, like with, I think, another buddy's Honda.
Yeah.
We hooked a rope up to it or a chain, whatever.
That's all we had.
Dragged it out, put air in the tires, jump started it. I think I had to put some gas in it.
Yeah.
Revved it up a few times, cleared it out, and it was over an old lime. So the only way to get back over was to go over the 95 bridge.
Sick.
So, obviously no plate, nothing like that.
Yeah.
This thing has like all leaves and sticks wedged and everything. So I get up to speed on the highway and there's all the sticks and leaves blowing off.
Yeah, sick.
If a cop saw me, I'd be immediately pulled over.
Right.
But got it back, tore it all apart, put the Acura motor in there in my mom's driveway. She was so mad at me too because I made a huge mess.
Dude, your poor mom.
Yeah. I had like oil everywhere, purple power all over the place.
So that was no clock, 4-speed.
No clock?
You don't remember the clock delete?
It did have a clock delete. You're right.
Dude,
Yeah.
I remember you making that the biggest deal. And like at the time, I'm like, this kid is retarded, right? And then now, fast forward 20-something years, I was right. You are retarded.
You're right. And
You know
I was
what I mean?
wrong. It's not a big deal.
It's not a big.
Not a
You're
big
like,
deal.
I remember you would like peek into these Hondas. You'd be like, no clock delete, dude, pussy.
Well, the clocks are heavy in those. Not everybody knows that.
Yeah, dude, clock deletes. Hold on, I gotta shut. I can hear the heat in this whole thing. Hold on, I gotta shut
The heat feels good.
I know, but I could hear it, dude.
I can't.
You don't have the fucking headphones on.
Exactly. You don't hear the echo.
So you think just because you don't hear it, it's not happening?
Not in my mind.
And that, ladies and gentlemen,
It's called selfishness.
that's the summary of Noah right there. Okay, you could just end this podcast right now.
We're like, all right, that's the whole story. We know him.
That's the whole story.
Yep.
Yeah.
Do you need to turn it off?
I can hear it whooshing
If you want to turn it off,
in my
turn
headphones.
it off.
If it gets too, if your vag gets too cold, let me know.
All right. I would say something, but I don't know what to say. There we go. But yeah, so started out with that. All motor, ran around a little bit, had some fun.
All motor LS.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With a good transmission.
Yeah, with a good
and
tranny.
a clock delete.
Yeah.
And then it was like I saved up some money. I was working at a gas station. It was like one of the last full-service gas stations where you would pump people's fuel. I think kids these days don't even know what that means, but
I mean, if they're from Jersey, they do.
you're right, because that's your only choice.
Yeah.
I hate that.
Yeah, it's okay.
Anyway, saved up some money, but this was like when eBay first started coming out with turbo kits.
When eBay first started to pop off.
Right.
That was
right.
probably the beginning of eBay, to be honest with you.
I love eBay. I still use it
No way.
over Amazon.
You're kidding
I don't
me.
even have an Amazon account.
You're joking.
That's serious.
Dude, get with reality. Get a grip. That's crazy.
If I really want something on Amazon, I use Jody's account. She gets it for me.
That's the same thing, dude.
So then why do I get it?
I'm not. You have it. You're essentially your wife has it.
Yeah, I got Amazon.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't.
You think I don't have Amazon?
Do you think I have an Amazon in my name? No, everything's in my wife's name.
You're right.
Yeah, that's the same thing, dude.
That's how it's done these
Right.
days.
Anything of hers is actually mine.
Yeah.
Whether or not that's true, it's nobody knows.
Yeah, it's what you're supposed to
Right.
say or do.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, go on.
Yeah, eBay turbo kit. You look at it on there and you're like, wow, this is everything I need. This is great for $7.99.
Wow, that's a lot of money back then.
It was. But I was like, this is going to solve all my life's problems.
Yeah.
Buying this thing. So I bought it. Not one single thing fit right on it.
No way.
Horrible.
You're kidding. Who would have thought?
Not me. Anyways, I made it work. I didn't have like any type of garage structure to work on things, so I worked like in the yard. And I should have I have a really good picture of this car. I didn't have jack stands, anything. I used cinder blocks as jack stands.
Yep.
It's really dangerous.
Super safe.
Like up against the pinch weld.
Yeah. How could that go wrong?
Nice little karate chop through it.
Yeah.
Anyways, I'd work out in the cold, whatever, but it was a winter, and I did it outside, got it all done, and springtime came around. It was making turbo sounds, doing burnouts. I then figured out that you can't just put a turbo kit onto a naturally aspirated motor without giving it more fuel.
Right.
Burn that sucker up quick.
Oh, yeah, no way.
Yep. But I learned it.
Right.
I learned this. And then at the time, there was different methods of
dude, the missing
fuel.
Get closer to the mic.
Adding fuel to a car, and like missing link you're talking about, that's the map sensor.
Yeah.
It would trick the map sensor. So like, I think they make like good ones, but I did like the budget way of doing it. You would put a check valve in there, and it would tee off
Right.
for the thing through the map sensor hose. So once it started sensing boost, it would just blow it through, so the map sensor isn't reading weird.
Right.
It's just getting its normal voltage or whatever. But you go to the fish tank store for that.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. So I would test and tune with different ones, and sometimes I would tee in a few more.
Yeah.
And you'd need like a certain amount of them, because if it didn't flow enough, it wouldn't work right.
Right, it would still see boost.
So I forget like the magic number on the check valves.
But there was a magic number of the fish store check valves.
Yeah, it was like 2 or 3, and I'm sure it depended on what brand or whatever.
And then it was SAFCs.
Yeah, airflow controller, I think they're called. The Apex.
Right.
Which I guess, and you would know more than me, but I think that tricks the map sensor also to put it in a different cell on the fuel table.
I don't know, because that was the first and last time I've ever laid hands on one, and this is before I actually started tuning cars. But yeah, I mean, I guess if they're manipulating the scaling of the voltage.
So to be able to put bigger injectors, we would use the DSM injectors.
Yeah, the 440s.
440s.
Everybody knows that. Wire in the resistor box,
because they're low impedance.
Right.
But you couldn't just put them in. It would run like super rich. So you'd have to put the AFC on it. And I remember you would go, the magic number was -40 across the boards.
Yeah.
I just don't know what that -40 is like manipulating.
They probably didn't know either.
But it would make it work, and they ripped. Like, it was to a certain boost level, like 10 pounds.
Dude, I'm going to bring up a story.
Yeah.
That I think you remember just as vividly as me.
Okay.
Oh, actually, I hope you remember it better than me. So we did a lot of street racing with Hondas up in Hartford, right?
Oh, so much fun.
Do you know the story I'm going with?
No.
Do you remember the kids? I think it was a white, like 98 GSR.
I know where you're going.
You already know. Tell the story, please.
So these kids, they figured out, so another turbo Honda. Mm-hmm. I think it was some Waterbury kids.
Okay. I hope they listen to this, and I hope they hit us up.
Yeah. And the car was quick. I think I raced him in Eggnog, and it was like, I beat him, but it wasn't by much. It was a good race.
Right.
And anyways, so they had figured out the DSM injector part.
Right.
They had not figured out any check valve or any AFC manipulator box. What they did was they took, on their main fuel line coming in, they took a valve. It was like a needle and seat valve from Home Depot to like a shutoff valve, but you could dial it in.
Yeah, dial it in.
So they put that on the main fuel feed off the fuel pump to the rail, and they just dialed the thing in to like restrict it.
That's amazing.
And they made it run enough to do that, and it ripped.
And it was up there racing a lot.
Yeah.
Like, it didn't just rip one weekend.
Yeah.
Like we saw it often.
They got lucky on the amount of turns on that thing, I think.
Can you call it luck?
It worked.
Dude.
That was cool though.
That was an amazing. Yeah, dude. That was amazing. I just remember like driving home and like thinking about that all night. And this kind of leads me into another thing. Me, John, and Noah will always kind of sit here and talk about, like, you know, we put a lot of effort into these cars, right? Noah especially, but, you know, Noah has spent entire seasons struggling, right? Like legitimately, like, you know, everybody watching this knows, like, your car is really fast, right? But it came at a price, right? And we would always joke that there's like,
everybody sees the glitz and glamour of things,
dude.
It's all like the hard work behind it.
And I guess that kind of is against what I'm about to say. Is like, we would always joke that these people would slap these cars together and never have an issue, and then we're over here, you know, fighting different circumferences on the slicks. You know what I mean? Because the car wants to drive into the wall. You know what I mean? And then, like, you got these hillbillies, like, on the screen right now that if you ask them what size fucking tires on the car, they wouldn't know.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or how old they are. You know?
What shock settings do you have?
What? And they say, what? We don't have shocks.
Yeah.
We don't have shocks around these parts.
Yeah. We don't have any dials on our shocks.
Yeah. Lakewood 9010s, and the thing's putting us on the trailer first round everywhere we go.
Yeah. There's a lot of that, though.
There's a lot of that. But more so is that you just don't know their story.
Mm-hmm. True.
Right? They're probably actually pretty smart. So, yeah, that's our Honda story. So soon after the Hondas, I think we all, you know, because I had one, you had...
Well, I remember that first one you got.
Which one was that?
The hatchback that you sold to Zach. It was like black or gray.
Oh my God, dude.
So the way that I remember that car, so the thing to do, and like what I did when I did my swap, when I put the Integra motor in, you buy the Hasport mounts built in.
Yeah.
Your car, somebody didn't do it. They did it like a Home Depot valve style.
Yeah.
And they had factory mounts, and they just kind of welded them in there.
Right.
And I remember that motor was visually so cocked sideways, it was unbelievable. But it like... it would do the best chicken leggers.
Yeah.
Because but only on the one, whatever side it was.
Yeah.
Because like of that engine angle.
Yeah, the driveline angle is so perfect for sick burn daddies.
Yeah, it was a good one.
Yeah, I do. Dude, I haven't thought about that car. I don't remember what town I went to go buy it, but it wasn't a good one, right? I paid $1,700 for it. It was probably 2004.
That thing had the good transmission in it too.
Okay.
Yeah.
It had a cable LS transmission in it, but okay. Yep. And like, I just didn't know shit. And I remember it must have probably been you that was just like, dude, your motor's crooked. And then it was like one of those moments where I saw it and I'm like, fuck. He's right, dude. Like, there was no like, nah, you idiot. Like, I just like looked at it again. I'm like, oh my God. How did I miss that? And then, then I sold it to Zach, I guess. I don't remember that part.
Yeah, he sold it to Zach, and I think he put some money into it. He like made it nicer and.
Oh, idiot. That thing sucked. I remember it had like a black fender on it.
Yeah. I think it was like dark gray or something.
Yeah, it was.
Like the car itself.
Yeah.
It was cool though. You had a clock in that thing though.
Yeah, it was a clock. It was a clock unit. Yeah, so I don't want to keep talking about Hondas, but then I had that blue one.
You did, and you put the blower on it.
Yeah, I had
the Jackson Racing blower.
LSV Tech blower. And then...
well, really, that's what started your whole tuning deal because...
oh, that's true.
Then you figured out, you're like, I'm not doing a Home Depot valve. I'm not doing fish tank check valves.
Right.
I'm going to do this the right way.
Right.
Back in the forum days on Honda Tech. Because people were doing it.
Right.
You learned the chip burning thing.
Well, no. I paid Xenocron.
Right.
And I'm not even sure if he was going by that name at that time. This is legitimately 2004, 2005. I remember we tuned it. We street tuned it out of his apartment in Jersey.
Yep.
And that is really what set it off for me, because yeah, dude, that was a very, just coming from like your cars and Eric McCook's cars, where it was like messing around with missing links and SAFCs and all this bullshit,
bolt-on stuff that you don't need to use your brain for.
Right, and then I bring my car to Xenocron, and this thing just runs like a factory car.
Yeah,
like it was just
ran so good too,
so good, right? Like comparatively, right?
Yeah.
I wonder if we had it now, how we would feel about it, right? But at the time we thought it ran amazing. And then, yeah, that really did kick it off for me. Who was it?
Lucas Glass.
Oh, my God.
Give a shout out. I'm not going to pick it up, but
Don't pick it up. Don't pick it up. Don't give that
I'll call him
nerd-
back.
Yeah.
I always call him back.
Yeah. How often do you talk to Luke?
Often.
Really?
Well, he's doing the whole like chassis build on his car now. And not that I'm like anybody special, but like I am building my new chassis like just a little bit earlier than he is. So like each thing that I've done on it, he'll have like not everything, but like he'll have a question on something. Oh, how'd you do this? How'd you do that? And so we've been talking a lot about that lately, but in general, we just talk a lot about racing because we both know prep race and whatnot.
Luke has my old Nova.
Yep.
That's who bought my old Nova.
Things looking good.
Yo, it's looking real good.
It's going to fly.
Let's hope so.
It will.
Let's hope he put it together straight.
I think he did.
Yeah, me too.
Might have to learn it a little bit. It's a new combo, but
yeah, that's all right.
What were we talking about?
The
blue Honda Xenocron.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, thing ran awesome.
Yep.
Garage built, which all of them were.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Or yard built.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever we had. You had a garage. You were spoiled.
I had a garage.
Yeah.
Yep.
That garage was cool though.
Dude.
You had the wood stove in there.
Yeah, it was cooler than I gave it credit for at the time, I remember. It flooded, I remember.
I remember.
Like,
to be at that age and have a garage so you can have bench space and tools and heat, that's a big deal.
Just, I remember the lighting. You know, and it's so funny, right? Because, like, all these issues I remember as a kid, like, the drainage sucked, right? And the lighting sucked.
But we kind of just dealt with it.
Yeah, but we could have fixed it for, like, $8.
Yeah, but then we don't have that $8 towards a Home Depot valve or something.
Yeah, I guess. Now it's, like, the first thing. I'm like, how's the lighting?
I can't even move in here yet until I fully do this place.
I couldn't even change oil in here, dude. Yeah.
But some cool stuff was built out of there, and then we kind of were all, you were generous and would let people come in there and work on our stuff. Like me and Eric, we'd bring our cars in and
it was a good time.
Do our stuff.
Yep, and then fast forward a bunch of years, and we ended up with you, dude. Now that I say this out loud, the Malibu was really your first V8. Oh, you had the truck.
So you're talking about the crossover that we all made?
Yeah, I want to hear about your crossover from Hondas.
First, the Honda thing got into a bigger level.
Okay.
It wasn't just like those junky street cars doing chicken leggers.
Tell them about it.
We got more into like actual, somewhat competitive, like heads-up drag racing.
Yep.
Whether it be street stuff or I did like the track events, like the import face-off.
Really? Is it the same track that you hate so much now, you think, or?
Well, Hondas don't go anywhere unless you have like some grip.
Oh.
Yeah. So it was okay back then.
It was okay for you.
Right.
For then. Okay. All right. So, again, if you wanted to sum up Noah, clip it, boys. Clip it.
So, yeah, I did that, and well, I'll tell a quick story about.
Hit me with a quick one, dude.
Really, and I've told this story before, but really got me hooked into like actual heads-up drag racing. So I had built this all-motor car, and it was quick for what it was. An all-motor Honda sounds like nothing, but it went 10 O's. It was like my best out of it for a 4-cylinder motor back in 2012, 13. Stock tranny. That's pretty good.
Yeah,
that's pretty good. But anyways,
it was very competitive at the time. I remember.
Yeah. Definitely. And so I remember somebody was like, oh, they got this import face-off race, because we had just gone to test and tunes with it, trying to run numbers. And I didn't even realize there was more to racing than that. I thought it was like you go to Lebanon Saturday test and tune, run some numbers. And
that's drag racing.
That's drag racing.
Right.
But then somebody's like, oh, your car's pretty quick. You should go to this. You should go to this import face-off. And it was at New England Dragway.
Yep.
Another one of my hated tracks.
You don't like New England?
Well, I won't get into the story because I don't want to bash the track for anything. It's something that was my fault.
Yeah, you probably had some illegal shit.
Exactly.
Some unsafe shit.
It's totally my fault.
And they told you to hit the bricks.
Yeah, they wouldn't let me race.
Yeah.
My fault.
Right.
But
you just won't let it go.
I won't get that far into it. They should have let it go.
Seatbelts?
All right, we'll get into it. My cage cert was a couple months out of date.
Months?
Months.
Yeah, that's kind of whack, especially when like you're talking about the Malibu, obviously.
Yeah, and I'm going there trying to support like
Right.
Mark LeBranch does a race over
Right,
there,
right.
and like he tries really hard to get cars there and stuff like that, and he does a great job with it all.
Yeah.
But I go there, 1, to support him, 2, to win some money, and which he gets a nice pot together, which takes
Right.
him to do.
Right.
But yeah, I went up, and so first tech didn't go well, so I went up into the tower to talk to the guy, like the main guy or whatever,
Right.
and he's just like, "No, sorry, not happening." I was basically told him that's why this will always be a bracket racing track. Walked out of there, but ultimately it's my fault. It's the rules.
Yeah, it's the rules. I mean, it's tough, right? Because your car, you know, you don't need to be an expert to take a look at your car and know it's a safe car.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, see a certification that's months out of date. You know, it's not like this is like a new car, or maybe the cert's gone because it was wrecked at one point and they took it off. Nothing like that. If you've ever seen Noah's car in person, it's essentially a pro level car, especially at this point. But even at the time, it was a well done car, and so yeah, I understand your animosity.
Yeah. And like, to me, not that it matters to the track owners or anything, but like that track is like the biggest walk in the park to go down compared to anything else I usually race on.
As you're talking no prep stuff.
Yeah, just in general, like to go down that drag strip, it's like smooth as glass, like
Okay.
6 tractor trailer trucks wide.
Yeah.
And like, you know, I usually race at like Brown County through the grass, you know?
Yeah. War in the Woods.
War in the woods.
Yeah, dude.
But anyways, import face off
Yeah.
at that track. So I go a few rounds. I'm doing good, and it got down to, I think it was like the semifinals, and I paired up with this other car, a buddy of mine, the Honda guys will know him, Kyle Johnson, KJ built. KJ.
Oh shit.
And he was a big influence in the Honda days for me.
Yeah.
He helped
KJ
me-
was cool, dude.
Helped me out a lot with a bunch of stuff, and
KJ is still cool. He's not
Yeah.
dead or anything. He's still very much alive.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
But I paired up with him, and
Did you know him before this?
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And I know his car's faster. It's, you know, numbers wise, it's gone faster.
Right.
And so I remember standing there, Jason Rosario.
Oh yeah. Massachusetts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome guy.
Yeah.
So I'm standing there with him, and I'm like, oh man, Jason, you know, this has been a lot of fun. This is going to be the end of it here, but you know, this is cool. I'll come back. And I remember him vividly telling me this. He's like, Noah, listen to me. This is drag racing. Anything can happen. Like, yeah, that car's faster, but anything can happen. He can red light. You can catch a better light than him. And I didn't really understand that at the time. I just kind of thought I had that test and tune mindset where like the number's the number.
The number's the number. Whoever's got the lower number wins.
And I remember it was like later in the night. It had gotten cold, and we get up there, and he zips the tire off, and I just go right down. I cheered so loud inside the car,
Yeah.
yelling.
Dude.
And then I went on to win the finals against the other car.
No
And
way.
it was like from then on, I was hooked.
Dude, I remember just a quick side story. I remember because you did rod bearings in that thing quite often.
Yeah, towards the end when I started putting the nitro in it.
Right. And I remember it was Rob O'Brien. I remember you had just done rod bearings in it, and you started up.
I remember this.
Dude, he starts it up, right? This is no bullshit. I'm not exaggerating. It's got no oil. He just did rod bearings, probably rings, whatever, right? Just a refresh. Didn't get hurt or nothing. Just
Well, I did rod bearings, and I think I ported my oil pump.
Right.
Yeah.
All right.
That's the key part.
He starts the thing up, no oil pressure, right? And then, you know, so obviously he shuts it right off, you know, new motor, right? So it always takes a second. So I think you restarted it, still no oil pressure.
I was thinking it was a bad sensor or something.
Right. And I remember Rob going over to the bench, right? And there's an oil pump gear sitting right here. And I remember him picking it up, and he's like, could it be this? And he goes,
I'm like, no, that's the old one.
no, that's the old one. And then I remember him picking up another one and going, what about this one? And I remember Noah just like you could see it like computing. You know what I mean? And he's like, fuck. And then the car comes apart, and of course, that was the one that was. It was
when
like,
he's holding them both up in his hands. He's like, "You got two of them, bud."
Yeah. Oh, dude, amazing. So yeah, go on. Tell me more.
Yeah. So I mean, I kept going with the Honda stuff for like a couple years, just doing like whatever heads up racing there was. I always was kind of like the underdog because I didn't have like the fastest motor and stuff like that, which a lot of times you're the slower guy because of that. But I would do well just kind of driving, catching a light, whatever. Back in my younger days, I'm getting old now.
Yeah.
But ended up, and I think this goes for a lot of us, but Street Outlaws came out, and you start watching that stuff, and you're like, wow, this domestic stuff's pretty cool. And it was to the point with that same car, that all-motor car, that I needed to either spend some big money on a new motor to be competitive or sell it and do something different. So I ended up, I think I wasn't really ready to sell it right away. So I ended up buying that truck. It was like a 2000-ish Silverado.
Yeah. From East Haven.
From East Haven. It had some Bondo in it.
Yeah.
5.3, single cab, short bed, lowered, had like some big chrome wheels on it.
Sick.
It was awesome. It was so cool. So I ended up taking that and building my own turbo kit. Well, I can't say my own. John, because we were all in the shop together at the same time.
John Little. From Little's Race Innovations.
Helped me out a ton on that thing.
Dude, he built
for both of us.
Dude, he essentially built all of our cars.
So, quick side note on that. John has always been like a step ahead of all of us on like fabrication wise and all that stuff. Like he will be the one to go in and get a welder or get a tube bender, put the time in to figure it all out. So I couldn't TIG weld at the time. I mean, I could, I just wasn't good at it.
Right.
So he helped me. Like, I remember how we would do it. I would like cut the pieces, be like, I want it here, tack it all together, and he would final weld it. But anyways, John helped me out a ton on that thing. We put it all together at a Borg 75 millimeter single turbo on it.
Yeah.
Mega Squirt 4L80.
Yeah.
And with the 10 bolt in there, like all stock suspension, just lowered. And the truck was awesome.
Dude, that thing was sick.
It was probably one of your first cars you tuned, like that was a V8 turbo combo.
Well, let's back up.
Okay.
Because I'm not getting the credit I deserve here. Okay.
Okay, back it up. I missed something.
Because I bailed on Hondas
earlier
than you guys.
Yeah.
And I bought an E30.
So you went onto the rear wheel drive world.
I went on the rear wheel drive world, and then I turboed that
with the 6-cylinder Beamer motor
in John's basement.
Yeah. Before the shop.
Yeah. And then and the reason your truck ended up on Mega Squirt is because that car was on Mega Squirt.
Right. And that was your choice of tuning at the time.
Well, that was
the
only thing I knew.
Yeah.
Right? That was really where
it worked really good for what we were doing.
Dude, I got to be honest with you. The Mega Squirt stuff took your car real far.
Yeah.
I mean, you didn't switch your car to Holly until
years later.
It feels like yesterday, but I think it was like 5 years ago at this point.
Probably a good 2 to 3 seasons on the Mega Squirt.
Oh, it seems like much longer than that. Is that it?
I think so. Well, that was also the point that you were the main tuner for me, not just like the dyno tune, but like the power management, like getting it to go down the road, everything. We would kind of just mix our input together as a driver and a tuner, and you would be at all the races, and like you basically ran the car. I just drove it.
Right.
And I didn't have much experience in the tuning or any of that stuff.
Well, you also had no desire to.
Right. Yeah.
I
was also kind of scared too, I think. I was always scared to like break something, and I didn't have the confidence.
I'll say this also. Because by the time we got to your car, your car evolved really quick. So the thing about Noah's car is that it came out and it was competitive right away. And it really, it was like a perfect storm, right? Like no prep really took off right when your car came together. Your car made decent power, nothing crazy. It was twin Borg 366s on it with a 6-liter piston and rod 6-liter. And yeah, whatever, made 1,100. Which to us at the time, you know,
it's a lot.
Yeah, like I'm downplaying it now, but at the time we were like, dude, we're bad motherfuckers, right?
We didn't even have draggies though. We're probably going 650s out there and not realizing it.
Oh, 100%. But nobody was beating it,
right?
Because you know, I remember going to Dig or Die that year, and I think he went to the finals.
Not Dig or Die.
Well, Dig or Die wasn't even a thing then.
Oh, West Virginia. That was the first race.
That was the first race. You're right.
Went to the finals.
Yes.
And I would have won, but it was my own mistake.
Why would you do it? Did you go red?
No, it was like a spool up thing.
Oh.
I wasn't like bumping or anything like that. It was just kind of spool it up and go.
Yeah.
And I didn't give the car enough time to spool up, like with the way the flagger was flagging it. And it wasn't his fault. It was my fault.
Right.
But it wasn't spooled up enough. So like the light went, and I stayed there to let it spool up more, thinking that like, oh, it'll be fine. It's going to be better to be spooled up than not spooled up and leave early or late or whatever.
It was Richie Stein.
Richie Stein.
In the Chevelle.
Yep. Yeah.
Dude. Wow.
And there was a bunch of cars there, like
that we
a
still
bunch of
see.
rounds. Yeah. That was like, I think that was my stage 2. Getting the itch for drag racing,
right?
Just like my first story.
But to finish the original story, right? We're like 17 stories deep. You should have been. My point to all of that was you should have been scared of the Mega Squirt because Mega Squirt wasn't meant to do what we were doing. We were doing a lot of stuff in there. Like we figured out a lot of stuff throughout the process.
Well, the truck, the first time getting the truck on the dyno, we used Max Dyno at his Brantford shop, and the first night blew it up.
Oh, I don't remember this.
That was kind of, yeah, you do. We had to drive back in somebody else's car and leave that there because we drove it there. But
well, sorry,
I remember.
Sorry, not sorry.
It's all right.
You know what I mean?
It's all right.
How much did I charge you?
Nothing.
Yeah, $0.
I bought you dinner though.
Okay.
No, but I remember like it made the pull and then it like made some smoke.
Yeah.
And then you're like, okay, shut it off. And then you went and turned it over and you're like, you hear that sound, that little mist there? You got a cylinder down.
Yeah, well, you know, you hear the gallop, you know.
But I think that's also maybe something that like kept me nervous to do my own tunings. I would blow something up. I don't know.
Oh, well, take it from me because I get paid to do it all the time. I blow shit up every day.
Nice.
No,
Decent.
not every day. Not every day. Relax, everybody.
Really?
But it does happen, and it.
But that's how you learn. That's the best way to learn is like in a bad situation like that. Luckily, it's not somebody like an important customer or something, but you're gonna blow something up as a tuner.
Yeah,
you learn the hard way.
It happens. I think how you react to it. You know, if you know me or if I've ever worked for you in the past, you know, I very rarely will try to pass the blame. You know,
it's part of drag racing.
It's a part of drag. So the way I don't know, maybe this is just how I rationalize it in my head, right? But like, I don't really advertise. I don't try to I don't reach out to people, right? Meaning, if you've made it here or if you've contacted me, you've either done your research or whatever the case may be, and we're here now, right?
Yeah.
Which means that you're trusting me with this process, right? Which means that
we all know how this works.
We all know how this works, right? We live or die by the sword, right? Unfortunately, sometimes I am the sword, right? And I kill it, right? I like to think that I don't make egregious mistakes. You know, oops, I has 30 degrees of time. I didn't mean to do. Like I try to not have shit like that happen. But dude, shit gets hurt.
It happens
a lot, right?
Parts failures.
I mean, well, that's my point. So like, you see a lot of people try to defend themselves, right? And maybe it's just because I'm further along in my career where I don't, right? If I blew your shit up, dude, you know, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Right. And that's it. I'm not trying to I'm not trying to be like, yo, your pistons those are shitty pistons. No, dude, I don't know, man. Maybe they are shitty pistons and maybe that was the reason it blew up. But Like, I was the one behind the keyboard.
But I'll tell you what, every time that I bring my car here or I see somebody else's car here, you always say to them, well, first off, you always ask them, what's this thing have for like a rotating assembly or whatever? Like, what's this thing good for? What's it safe for? But you'll always, like, you'll do like a lower boost number or whatever and get it good. And then you always say to them, how far are you trying to go with this?
Right.
And that's the point where it's like, it's on them.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
anything can happen.
You know, it's, yeah. So I just had a customer reach out, Matt Rydell, love him to death, right? You know him. He's the man, right? Oh, yeah. Super nice. His dad's cool as hell. And he's like, hey, I'm putting together this 5.3, whatever the case is. I don't even remember if it was a 5.3. And he goes, what do you think it's good for? And I said, buddy, I'm not the one you need to ask that question, right? I'll find out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But, like, that's between you and the people who are making the parts for it. I don't know.
Right.
You know, the internet will tell you it's, you know, if it's a stock block LS, it's good for 4,000. You know what I mean? So, you know, I get that a lot. But to what you're saying, like, a lot of times, you know, I've done it for so long where I kind of know where things are going to end up, right?
Yeah.
Like, I kind of know, like, a stock block with a nice set of heads LS can make 1,600 and live, right? Like, if the block is put together right. A stock block, stock head deal, I think anything over 1,200, and you're going to put gaskets in it pretty often. Dude, I remember Noah brought me his car. Dude, I remember this so clear. This is how I know Noah's going to be my best friend for my entire life, right? Okay, so Noah brings me his car. This is probably 4 days before, I would assume, a dig or die. I don't remember, though, right? And we got the car on the dyno, and he's making the pulls in it because he's been on this dyno a million times, and if I don't have to make the pulls, I won't. So Noah makes the pulls, and I remember it lifts the head gasket. And I remember, like, looking at him through the windshield, and he looked at me, and he shut the car off. No words, no anger, no nothing. And he goes, you know anybody with head gaskets? You know what I mean? And that was it. We unbolted it, rolled it into the trailer. I think he put a set of gaskets on it. I think we probably took a couple degrees of timing out of it. Because I remember it was on methanol, but it was still stock heads. Right. And that thing was a pain in the ass.
Oh, yeah. That was one of the struggling years.
Yes.
Was that?
Yes. But that wasn't the struggle. That was just that wasn't the reason for the struggle.
Right, right.
The reason for the struggle. That was like when
we started figuring it out,
right.
And then the gasket decided.
Well, that was probably because the car really started to make some decent power.
Right.
And then that rear suspension really started to become an issue for us.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember that head gasket deal. On those stock gaskets, what they like to do is they'll shoot a little fray out of the side.
Yeah.
And I remember, it might have been a different time, but I remember seeing it, and it was the night before one of Ty Ranger's Star Spangled Shootout races at ESTA when he used to do them there. But I remember seeing the little fray after we made some pulls on the dyno, and it did good and everything.
Yep.
I remember seeing that. I'm like, oh, man. And I sent you a picture of it, and I was like, what do you think I should do? He's like, you should probably throw some gaskets in it. So I ended up finding some locally, put them in. I went to the race. I remember the first pass, I come back to the pits, and I look at that same cylinder. It frayed out the new gasket.
Sick.
Same spot.
Sick.
Because of the stock heads.
Right.
Because they start working them, it's like twisting the metal, they're weak or whatever.
Dude, you're so right, because I remember you're the one that taught me that. After the stock heads blow a head gasket the first time, They're done.
Yeah.
They are noodles.
Yeah.
They'll blow them with 200 horsepower less in it, like over and over again.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny.
And like the fray, it's almost something just cosmetic. Like there's definitely a problem there, but I've seen other cars like Eric, he had that fray problem, and he's like, oh, it's fine.
It's been like that.
And he's been racing it, and it works fine.
Yeah.
You know, maybe that cylinder's down a little bit, but he's running it and he's winning races.
So talk to me about, so when you were doing all this, right? So now we're at the point, you got the Malibu, you're going to the no prep stuff, which is like at its early stages. What year are we talking? What year are you thinking?
Probably like 17, 18.
Yeah. So how did you afford it? What were you towing with? I want to know that bullshit. I know that bullshit, but I think they want to know that bullshit.
So this was, I had a 2005 Chevy Silverado, 4-wheel drive,
Yeah.
5.3.
Yee, brother.
Friggin' yee.
Yeah, let's go.
Good truck. It was my daily driver. I was working my regular job at the time, and so I didn't have a separate tow rig, anything like that. And then we had the that shop trailer. It was like the community shop trailer, the 77 Dragstar.
Yeah. Unit.
And I was using that, and this was actually my first truck I ever had to like tow with, because before that I had my Honda, and we had also the shop trailer, but John had his Cummins, and we would use that to tow with.
Oh, dude, when did John get that thing?
John was a real MVP in the whole deal.
We're gonna get John on here probably for the next one.
Yeah,
but John, it's almost worth.
Without John, none of this, we would not be where we are.
No, I mean, I think it was a. I'm gonna get real nerdy here. I think it was a symbiotic relationship, because that means like we all fed and worked off of each other.
Definitely.
Like I don't think any of it worked with one of us out of the picture.
Right. Yeah,
because like if you guys were paying for dynos and tunes and all this stuff, I don't think it works.
No.
Right? John, dude, yeah, you're so right. John bought that Cummins because he's truly a mud kid at heart, right?
Yeah. A mud kid.
Yeah, he's a Portland Fairground.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm just joking. John's the fucking man. But he bought that Cummins early. I totally forgot about that. Early.
Yeah.
And then we put miles on that truck. He would get so pissed at everything.
He was mad,
dude.
Yeah,
that was sick. All right, so John was towing your shit around. We had the 77 Dragstar that we got from Kyle Nozzle.
Right. Yep.
It was a huge pile of shit. It was open in the center, bent axle. I don't know if we bent it or we got it like that.
It had it.
It had it. Okay.
So the bent axle made it so you'd have to replace tires on it. Well, just that axle tires. So I remember I used to do a rotation, but you would get like, I'd say probably like 1,000 miles to a set of tires.
That's not great.
So then you move it to the other side and you double that.
Yeah, you get 2,000.
2,000 miles.
Yeah, that's like my Beamer with fucking $2,000 tires, dude. I'm fucking changing them every 15,000 miles.
Well, we're just smart,
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah, we used that combo for the Honda stuff, and then there was kind of a break in racing from we were building our domestic stuff and selling off the Honda stuff, and there was a couple years of not going to the racetrack. And in those couple years is when I got that truck, my Chevy.
Did you have the Malibu? I know you had the Malibu and the truck at the same time. Did you have the Malibu before the truck? I kind of think you did.
I might have.
But the Malibu we knew was going to be a long-term project, so you bought the truck just to fuck around.
Have some fun. And, get used to the learning curve and whatever. Right. But yeah, so I had that Chevy, and I was using that to tow. It was the coolest thing to be like self-sufficient.
We got to stop. So it's two different trucks. Right. So Noah had, what was your tow truck, your daily driver? What year was it?
The 05 like 4-wheel drive truck.
2005 4-wheel drive, black leather.
It was a nice truck.
It was a nice truck. Had a ton of miles. I think you got it with like 230 on it.
Yeah.
And nice truck. But then what the truck he's talking about, the regular cab short bed, completely different truck, huge pile of shit.
Yeah.
In hindsight, but it was a regular cab short bed 2-wheel drive with a 5.3 in it that we stuck a 75 millimeter turbo on.
Yeah.
And had did a lot of burnouts with.
So much fun.
So much fun. So two different trucks, both black, same generation, I think.
That truck also had the tire wear problem.
That truck also had the tire wear problem for different reasons.
Yeah.
Nothing bent.
Yep.
Except the driver.
I did the rotation on that one too.
Yeah,
the same concept.
Yep.
It worked good.
All right, so tell me about your tow truck more.
The tow truck, 5.3. I think I ended up doing some type of rebuild in it, put like a little cam in it, but
I remember
whatever. It was just, a stockish thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I towed that open trailer, the Dragstar, and the Malibu around for probably maybe a good season. And then I was like, man, this trailer's rough. Like the fenders were rotting, so they would like flap around. I remember having to put like ratchet straps on them, and like the tire thing was the biggest deal.
Yeah.
I couldn't go anywhere buying tires all the time. So I ended up, I remember this was like a big moment in my life. I went out and bought the first thing I've ever bought brand new was a brand new open deck car trailer. I drove to Ohio.
I remember.
It's the Appalachian trailer.
Mm-hmm.
Nice trailer. But that was cool because I went out to buy that, and then the program started coming together. And I still drove the Chevy. That's when they were doing the Midnight Madness races out in Ohio.
Dude, those first ones were so sick.
You remember the first one when we went with the Tabers and John?
That was really before.
We didn't even know about like the Ohio people.
No, we didn't. That's really where Billy popped off from.
Right, because he used to run those races.
Right, him and his dad started that deal.
Yep.
Well, I don't know if he started it, but they definitely made it popular.
Well, the Midnight, I don't know how it all worked.
Yeah,
but
I don't know
Midnight
either.
Madness was like their thing.
Yep. Yeah, I remember was the first one we went to, we brought James's car,
Right.
Frankie's car.
And this is back when they would actually start it at midnight.
Dude,
And race through the night.
You're right. Dude, oh my God, that's where we first saw Mamaw.
I remember getting there, and
The Prestons with Mamaw on a stacker trailer.
We pulled in, and we got there like somewhat early. It was still light out. And I remember getting there, and I was like, why did we come here? There's just a bunch of hillbillies everywhere with these just looked like kind of junk bracket cars. And like we just drove 12 hours for this.
Dude, and that part of Ohio
Oh yeah.
is poverty stricken.
Yeah.
That is some I don't know if I did much traveling before then, but that part of the country is not great.
No.
Beautiful.
No.
Gorgeous place.
Yeah.
Not great, dude.
If you're into methamphetamine,
That's the spot, baby.
spot to
Let's go. Take me back.
but anyways, it was weird. Like as it got darker out and like closer to midnight, you'd see like some faster cars rolling in, and I remember seeing Mamaw, the Prestons.
Yep.
And we didn't know who they were.
Nitrous deal.
Nitrous.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing them rolling in, and they had this tan dually Duramax old truck they were towing with like a brand new stacker. And I'm like, these guys are pulling this stacker into this little hillbilly track over here. And they pulled that thing in and they unload Mamaw out of it. And I'm like, that's the coolest thing I've ever seen. I didn't really think anything of the car because it kind of looked like whatever.
Well, everybody knows the deal with Mamaw now, but at the time, nobody really did. And
No.
I remember so clearly the stacker trailer.
Yeah.
First of all, that parking lot was not great for a stacker.
Parking lot?
Yeah.
It was a field.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So I remember Mamaw coming out, and I remember like looking at it. Maybe there was a little bit of hype associated with it. I don't know why I was looking at it.
There was a crowd of people around it.
And then I remember looking. So it was old man tan car. Everybody knows Mamaw, right? So it was the tan LTD or Fairmont
LTD.
And I remember looking, and it had beadlocks, and the beadlock rings
Color
were the
match.
same color as the car. And that's really was my first indicator. I'm like, damn, this thing might be a fucking unit, dude. It might just be like a whole kind of look thing. And it was, because that thing was a hot rod from day one. Because did you race him in the finals?
It was like fourth round in.
Okay.
And I remember too, and this was something that kind of taught me a little bit about this level of no prep racing. They had small tires off the trailer racing, right? But they had big tire class in there also, and that would be the run order was big tire and then small tire. And I remember seeing them out there racing in big tire, and I'm like, I see what they're doing.
Yeah.
They're getting some test runs in,
Right.
and in my mind, I'm like, these guys got some money. They can pay another buy-in.
They can
That's
double on it.
$300 right
Dude,
there.
that's
I'm
gas money.
It's a lot of gas money.
Yeah.
But they did that. Got some runs in, and we did really good there too.
Yeah.
I remember taking. And here was another part of that same night. Remember, we had like our group text going as we were driving there and whatever, and we're like, we got to figure out a plan because it was, I think, four of us. We didn't want to draw each other.
Yeah. I do remember this.
Our plan was, we're like, okay, we're all gonna call somebody out.
It's a decent plan.
It's a great plan.
Yeah.
If it went as planned.
It did not.
Did not. And we knew nobody there.
Right.
So we
Oh, shit. Yes, I remember this.
We go to the driver's meeting, and like all of us are quiet. Nobody's calling anybody out.
Yeah. Because we're big fish in a small pond here in Connecticut.
Yep.
Yeah. We ain't shit when we leave Connecticut.
No. So I remember just thinking in my head, I'm like, nobody's saying anything. I got to say something. And I didn't know any of the cars there, but I knew Billy.
Right.
Because I had done my research about this track.
Right.
And I'm like, the NOS S10.
Right. Small block Chevy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was turbo at this time.
Was it?
Yeah.
I don't think it was, dude.
No, it was.
Okay.
Blow through.
All right.
I was like, who's got the twin turbo S10? And they're like, that's Billy. I'm like, okay, well, I'm calling him out. And I remember like it was kind of like the way they had like accepted the call out. They're like, okay, we'll do it, but we're going first round off the trailer, first pair out. I think trying to like intimidate me and stuff.
Right.
But realistically, that's how you do it anyways.
Yeah.
That's like just.
Well, who knows? At the time, that might have been.
Maybe it was new.
Maybe they started that.
They started that. But yeah, so Billy and I ran. I think he was trying radials for like the first time on a no prep track, which thank God that worked in my favor well.
Right. I will say this. I at the time I didn't really know who Billy was. I do now. Billy's the man.
Yeah.
Right. But I remember afterwards figuring out he was the man and feeling like an asshole because of that whole situation.
Really?
Yeah, because like we came there, right, with this plan, and then we call out the guy that's putting the race on. I don't know. It just didn't sit right. I don't think you did anything wrong.
Yeah.
Right?
I know what you're saying, but at the same time, like if you're going to call somebody out, you should call out somebody that like is a known fast car.
It'd be different now, right? Like if you and Billy showed up somewhere and you were to call out Billy, I'd feel fine about it, right? Because you guys are two contenders, right? But I don't want to say I feel like we were bullying him. I don't know. I don't know why I felt weird about it, but I did. Yeah. I did feel weird about it.
The only reason I did it because it was the only car.
It was the only guy you knew. Yeah, no, I get it.
Yeah.
But then everybody else drew each other.
I don't think so. No, we all stayed away from each other.
Oh, really? I thought like James drew.
No.
Or
Frank's car was there. It broke on the hill.
It did?
Like it broke. Like that's where he rolled to a stop, was halfway up the hill. And I think they towed it like up the rest of the hill instead of rolling down, or he rolled down and then like they towed him with like some momentum up the hill or something. Right. But yeah, we all did okay. We went some rounds. Yeah. I went to fourth round with Mamaw.
Yeah.
And
he turned the second kit on.
I did decent. I think we 60-footed pretty close to each other. And then like I just started hazing the tire, I think, and he just kept on going.
I remember you telling me, him saying that was the first time he's had to use the second kit.
No shit.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Because, you know, as a tuner, like, you got to hang your hat on something, right? If you're gonna go the fuck home without the hardware, you better at least have something you could be like, yeah, I'm still sweet at this, right? And I remember him being like, yeah, that was the only car he had to turn the second kit on up to that point. And I think the car was probably brand new, so that's probably not saying anything. Yeah. Right? That was probably the first race out with it, so that doesn't mean shit.
And no prep racing's evolving at that time. Probably every race after that, he's on the third kit.
Yeah. And he's probably going, 450s, you know what I mean? At the time, like, I don't know. I would say if anybody went out 550s back then,
probably that
was fast.
Yeah.
Was Eddie there?
Not at that one.
That was before.
He came out a little bit later, the next year, I think.
Yeah.
That's when he finished his truck.
Yeah.
But that kind of brings me on to the next phase of it was, so that next season is when they had that Nutty Money race.
In New York. Those things were sick.
Awesome.
Yeah.
But that was also the same time that John had already moved out. John moved out right when we did that KD race we just talked about.
Okay.
You were still in the shop. We all spent the winter there together, and you moved out, I think, mid that winter.
Okay. I don't remember any of this, but I believe you.
So you were doing all my tuning, everything, right. 100% on the laptop.
Yep.
I was doing none of it. But I remember, like, you moved out here, and, like, I was scared to death of touching that computer. Not scared to death of it, but just not confident. And, like, Like, well, I got to kind of take a step back now and like sort of figure this out, and hopefully I get it. Maybe I'll never be to where I was again.
Right.
But I remember you kind of gave me just sort of a quick run through on it, and you're like, you can do this. Like, it's not that big a deal.
Right.
You know, you change your, you know, here's where you set your two-step. Here's your boost curve.
So I'll say this about the Mega Square, especially at that time. It had the gnarliest boost control on the market, hands down.
I remember it wasn't like dome pressure.
No, it was manifold target, and it was really, really good. So you had to do a lot to get it there. It wasn't straightforward, and it was kind of it was, you know, we had
dial in.
Yeah, we had 3 steps that weren't native to it with what was it? Bit mapping. Just real nerd shit, right? That we just figured out over the years, right? So like to get it where it was difficult for me. Not difficult in the sense like I was stressed about it, but like there was a lot into it. But what that resulted in is you being able to go in there and changing literally boost targets and 2-step RPMs.
Right.
And the ECU it was so dialed that it would just figure everything else out. Yeah. So
but yeah, and I started doing it, and it was a little bit of a learning curve, but I think I picked it up somewhat quickly. And at one point I was kind of just, for the most part, able to do it myself.
Yeah.
For the track tuning at least,
right.
Which was awesome. Because I was nervous. I was like, this is...
So, you know, just so you guys know, right? You know, Noah's car has been on my dyno 20 times. I don't know.
Probably.
Whatever, right?
Good number.
You know, there's no... I'll tune Noah's shit until the day I die, right? That goes without question. But the reality of the matter is I really don't tune your shit. It comes here once, twice a year. We check it up. It makes killer power. It's made crazy power for the last 3 or 4 years now at this point, right? It's just the thing's a killer, right? And for the most part, I don't hear from Noah. I'll talk, you know, Noah will come back. I won't even know Noah. Most of the time, I just get a tag on Facebook of Noah like holding up money in the winner circle. You know what I mean? Like, you know, and like, I'm like, Noah went out to Kentucky and won. Go Noah. You know what I mean? And then, you know, Monday morning will roll around, Tuesday, you know, whenever he gets back from his 75-hour drive, and Noah will call me up and give me a little recap, or he'll call me up and he'll ask me a couple questions of some issues that he had. You know, it's getting a little weird on the 2-step. Do you think it was the air? Blah, 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 whatever. Right. But my point is like at this point, Noah tunes the car, right? I don't even think my sticker's on the car. Piece of shit.
It's on there.
All right.
Where's my sticker?
What do you mean?
Anywhere.
Oh, give me one.
Giving them to you. I don't know.
So like, you know, that's really the deal. So like, if you were to see me on the street and ask me if I tune Noah's car, I would probably tell you no.
Well, you do tune it to a certain degree. You tune the engine.
Right.
Like the dyno. Like
right.
You make the horsepower. You do the timing and the fuel and everything. You get it to run good. I just do the making it go down the track part.
The management.
Yeah.
Which clearly you're really good at, because
Thank
that
you.
car wins often.
It's all a learning curve.
Yeah, you got some laps on that old girl. So
Yeah.
I'll say that. I will say that. You know, I use Noah as an example, right? Because, you know, I get a lot of customers that come through the doors that use him as an example. You know, and just like we've said a million times at this point, even on this one podcast, that like, you know, you don't see what goes on in the background, but I have seen Noah. I'm going to move this mic. I have seen Noah literally use an entire set of slicks testing, right? I'm talking not a car next to him on a random street in the hills of Connecticut, right? Dark, no street lights. I've seen him run through an entire set of slicks just figuring shit out.
Those things are expensive too.
Yeah. So like when people ask me like, well, how does Noah do it? I tell them that. I tell them, dude, Noah will run through a set of slicks just figuring shit out, right? And if you're not willing to do that, then you're never going to beat him, ever. And, you know, guys like Luke Glass, I have said those words to Luke, And now Luke does the same thing.
Same thing.
And now Luke's a bad motherfucker wherever he shows up.
He tests more than I do.
I know he does.
Yeah.
I know he does, but the results speak for themselves.
Exactly.
I'm not saying his win ratio is as good as yours, but I'm not taking anything away from him. His car is ultra competitive on any property he shows up at.
He's good.
He's good.
I tell you what, last year him and I paired up for the first time. He put a little gap on me.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
Yes, he did.
See, I'm going to take the credit for that.
How?
Because I tuned that car too. So, these are the things I have to like in my head.
Yeah, keep him in there.
I have to, dude.
We'll give it to you.
Yeah, thank you.
You
Thank
do.
you. Yeah.
You
so
built that
I
car.
beat Noah.
Ricer math.
Yeah, Ricer math. Yeah. Yeah, and Luke's car, I mean, dude, Luke's car is my old car. And we can go on about that because that was an awesome story. But it is not my old car.
It's way different,
dude.
And your car ripped. It was fast.
When I sold it to him, it was fast, right? It went. I can say it now, right? It went 5.0s,
5.0
everywhere. Like you would put a radial on it and it would go 513. You would put a slick on it, it would go like 513, and then you would literally do nothing and put a radial on it, it would go like 503.
Yeah.
And I remember like doing that. I did it at Lebanon Valley, like back to back, and it would just move at a tenth.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm like, dude, sick. Right. But that car. But I didn't have the budget to do what Luke did to it. Right. Like that thing had jegged wheels. That thing had really shitty shocks. I might have had Mentors on it. Yeah, I did. By the time I sold it to him, I had Mentors front and back. But that car, it was all metal. It was 2,900 pounds for a Chevy 2. That's pretty fucking heavy, But Luke was able to really, and funny side story about Luke buying that car, right? And I know Noah knows the story, but I'll just tell it anyways, right?
I'm gonna go take a leak.
Go take a leak. So I decide, so I have the car, and it's fast and whatever, right? But I decided to really stop racing it, right? Because I was getting busy with the tuning, and it really, honest to God, I just wasn't interested in racing the car anymore because my day-to-day at that point was tuning those same exact cars. So at the end of the day, I just didn't feel like working on my own car, right? So the car sat forever. Then I buy the mainline dyno, and it was a matter of space, right? So it literally right behind where the camera is right now, my Nova sat for 8 months unraced, turnkey, completely turnkey. So I put it up for sale. Luke Glass buys it, and he shows up, and I remember it so vividly. Like, he's talking to me about the car and, like, its ability to go and drive and get ice cream. And I remember pulling my boy Steve outside while he's looking at the car, like, full panic attack. I'm like, dude, this guy doesn't know what he's getting himself into. I can't sell him this car. And I remember my boy Steve was like, dude, fuck that car. Fuck that guy. Sell it. And I'm like, all right, fine. So I sell him the car. And I remember Luke getting the car home, and he would call me and he'd be like, hey man, like the trans kind of gets hot on this thing if I cruise it down the road for an hour. And I'm like, buddy, listen, dude, I don't know if I told you the wrong thing or not, but that's not what you do with that car, right? And dude, he listened, and he literally he reprogrammed his brain, and he literally just turned into a badass. Figured it. He'd never had a car like that. The fastest car he told me he had before that was like an Evo, obviously a stick shift Evo. And dude, he truly figured it out, right? And so that is one of my most impressive stories I think I could ever tell. You back?
And I know that story.
Yeah, it's a good story.
Oh yeah,
because if you met Luke now, you would think he's just like a race car guy, been a race car guy.
Yeah.
But, whatever. It was only a couple years ago that he bought that.
He was a fast learner.
Dude,
real fast.
Extremely fast.
To be on the level that he is now, from when he started.
Not to suck him too hard, right? But I think it's the lack of ego, right? Like, he knew he didn't know shit.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I think that's like the biggest hurdle.
And he accepted it and like didn't care that anybody thought that.
Yeah, he didn't care that people thought he was an idiot.
He's like, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm going to try. I'm going to go out here and just do it.
And, not to pocket watch. He just had enough money to figure it out. And that's important too. You know what I mean? Like,
I think he could have done it without like the RV and all that stuff.
Man,
Is that what you mean by the money?
No, that is funny though, but no, that's not what I was picturing in my mind.
The budget of the race car.
Yeah, like He, like I was saying, it had a metal front end. He immediately put fiberglass doors and front end on it. You know what I mean? He painted it. He did, he did all the things that I wish I could have done to the car. He put it on. It was on Mega Squirt. They had sponsored the car actually, but he had put it on Fuel Tech. Then he had somebody else tune it, and then it wasn't doing well.
Oh, I remember that.
You know what I'm talking. I don't want to get into detail because it wasn't important. And the guy who tunes it, I like.
Yeah.
Like there was no issues there, and he was local to Luke, so it did make sense. But then I don't think the car really did that well. I don't really know the story, but I knew it ended up back here, and it's been it's been fast since then, but not solely because of me. It's literally because the kid will cut the car apart. Like, you give him an idea, dude, and he'll get under there and cut it. Like, he'll cut the car in half.
He just did.
Yeah, he literally just did. But he's been down that road. Like,
he ain't scared.
No, he's not. Twins in the back, single in the back.
He's got a new combo every week.
Oh, dude. Yeah, but you know what? I've learned an insane amount from his. Like, we all have these customers that are willing just to do all these, I mean tuners, right? Like, a lot of times you don't have the ability to just like try shit. Dude, I could call Luke right now.
He'll try it.
And pitch him an idea, and he'll be like, fuck it, dude. If you think it's going to go fast, we'll try it. Right? And it'll cost him a ton of money to do it. And he'll do it.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, it'll go quick. Like, the turbos in the back, that wasn't my idea. But the car was fast. And honestly, had he not consistently blown up, physically exploded turbos, it probably would still be like that.
Yeah.
Because it worked very well.
Real good.
Yeah. I think Kevin Hedges was really the OG for that.
Probably, yeah.
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 I think anyways.
Well, it was, Kevin bought it from somebody.
Not with the rear mount.
No?
No, that was Bobby Park's radial car.
Oh, that was the Black Nasty. So that
was Black Nasty. That's a sick name.
So that car was at that first Berkeley Springs race that we just talked about, where I went to the finals with Richie Stein.
Okay.
And I paired up with that car. It was like second round or something.
While it was Bobby's car?
Yeah, with Bobby racing.
Yeah.
And I remember everyone's like, "That's the fastest car around. Good luck."
Yeah, well, it probably was because it was a radial car.
And then I just had that same mindset in my head that Jason Rosario told me.
Yeah, 6 years earlier.
It's drag racing.
Yeah.
Anything can happen.
Yeah.
And I forget exactly what happened, but I think that big 98 millimeter or something just kind of started wicking up about 60 feet out and lost the tire, and that was about it.
I'll tell you what, though. Bobby came out with that champagne car.
That thing was quick.
Dude.
That was the dig or die killer.
I don't know if this is true or not, but I think he had like a 323 or a 290 rear, and the car would stay in first the whole time.
So I've heard of things like that. I've also heard of doing, so they make a second gear leave power glide valve body, so you can just be in
They do?
Yeah.
Who's using that?
I think I was gonna end up getting one and then I just went to a 400 3-speed, but I was gonna end up getting one, but yeah, they make them, so you can just leave it in high gear and just mess with your rear gear.
Yeah, I guess.
It's tough because like it's a couple things there. It might be sluggish off the hit, but then you don't have that gear change to lose the tire.
Dig or die. It kind of needs to be sluggish off the hit.
Yeah. So I don't know what you would do there. Put like a 410 in it and run it.
Dude, I don't think
second gear leave.
So I was told, and I don't know if this was true or not, that he had a really low rear gear and would just use first gear.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I
think the same concept.
We're saying the same thing, right? However you want to get there, right?
Get the ratio
right
to the same spot.
And honestly, I remember like hearing it the first time. I'm like, dude, that's brilliant.
Yeah.
Right? Because like if you've ever been to Dig or Die or even watched a video, you can't go fast at 60 foot. It's like
you used to not be able to. Now you can kind of get there a little bit, not fast, track fast.
What do you attribute that to?
What do you mean?
Why do you think dig or die is faster now? Do you think it's the surface?
I think it's the surface
is getting
more rubber in
faster.
it, yeah,
because it's the same surface over and over again. I thought they moved it a couple times.
they move it, but not much. They'll move it up like 10 feet or something.
But I thought it was at one track and now it's at a different track.
That was way back. The first couple that they did before it was big was at 710.
Okay.
Now it's at Rockingham.
And it's been at Rockingham for a while.
Right.
And that you think that surface is getting faster?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, cars are getting faster too, but I think it's just a combination of the two.
Yeah, because, most of the cars that I tune that make it out to dig or die, I'm pretty hands off with. Your car being one, Luke's being one, Kevin Hedges when he had his car. Kevin's I was more a little hands on with when it was racing, but so I don't have the experience that you would think I would have, right? Well, I don't know because I've been there.
I'd say this, not to like talk numbers, but like.
Oh, are you about to flex?
No,
dude,
no.
Flex on him, Noah. Let him know.
It's not even about me. I'm just like an example of how it's gotten better.
Yeah.
How much better it's
gotten.
Go
ahead, hit him with the facts.
When
put some respect on it.
When it's gotten a half a second faster.
Oh, I know this.
Yeah. Whatever those numbers are, they are. But like that's a big jump.
Yeah,
it's huge.
If I were to tell you the numbers, you wouldn't think it's fast.
Right.
If you ever walked on the surface, you would think I'm making the numbers up. That's how fast they are.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, if you've ever like seen the data or been there or it's not easy to see. Like the most recent videos.
And this is it right here.
Yeah, like these videos. I don't know what year this is from, but like
might be this year.
But people have shit figured out. So when you watch the video, you really get the wrong sense of how it is, right? Because people really know. But dude, if you've ever been there,
ever try to go there and make a pass, you will understand.
You know who you should ask if you ever want to go is Jim Wood with the Camaro.
Yeah.
I begged him up and down not to bring that car there.
That car looks so good.
Dude.
Such a nice car.
DMC built that thing.
Yeah.
Truly stunning car.
And it rips too. The chassis works amazing in that thing.
So me and Noah worked together on that car, and we only made 4 passes total.
Yeah. Well, worked on it, meaning like you tune it. I went to the track with him to track support.
Right. And in those 4 passes, and it's so funny because Jim is the best human being on the earth, right?
Got a great attitude.
Dude, the best. And he's like, I remember it goes out there, and it had a fast 60 foot and a fast 330. And me and you like are on the phone, and I'm like, dude, and you're like, dude, right? And Jim's just like, hey guys, is that good?
Oh,
and,
the Lebanon,
yeah,
the first day out with it, yeah,
right. And we're like, yeah, that's pretty good, right? And then we run it to the stripe, and we're like, I'm like, Noah, this car would fuck you up, dude. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm like, this car's got 1.5 passes on it, dude, and this thing's fast.
Well, that's just a perfect example of a well-built chassis.
Right. Oh, that's he spent the money where he needed to, right? So he had DMC build the car. He put it on Fuel Tech, and I'm not saying Fuel Tech or Holly, but he put it on the ECU that the tuner me wanted on it, right? So he put it on Fuel Tech. He got Jamie Miller to do the chassis setup, right? I talked to Jamie. I said, Jamie, what do you think this thing's going to do? What's my shock data going to look like? Dude, he verbally painted a picture. I remember the first hit. It did, the front and rear shock did literally exactly to the fucking 1/10 of an inch what Jamie thought it was going to do.
No shit.
He's like, yeah, I should do this. It should be like 3/4 here and, blah, blah. And I'm like, all right, yeah. And I've worked with Jamie enough to know that I know what I'm about to see is probably the truth, right? And it did exactly that. You're at the track. I'm getting good feedback. Jim doesn't know his fucking asshole from his elbow. And that is almost better, right? Because he was like not that involved, right? Do you agree? I feel like you're looking at me like you don't agree.
My mind was going sideways a little bit, thinking of something else. I'm wondering if your phone's still working.
Oh, let's check.
Yeah, make sure it's still recording. Imagine if this whole conversation wasn't recording.
Oh, it is.
Okay, good.
Dude.
I was just thinking in the back of my head, I'm like, we got a good story going here, but hopefully it recorded.
Yeah, that thing is dialed, bro.
I got ADD, so like my mind starts going off.
Listen, I'm with it. I saw it in your eyes.
Yeah,
bro.
yeah.
I was just saying that Jim, is his attitude is so good, and just like Luke, he doesn't claim to know.
Right.
And he's
okay with that.
Right. And I'm not saying this in a demeaning way, because Jim is very successful in life.
Yeah.
Right. And he does very well. So he's not an idiot by any stretch of the imagination, but he does know that we're probably a little better equipped for this race car deal.
He needs some help and guidance in that situation.
And when we go racing with him, he's just like, hey, you guys tell me what you need.
Yeah, he's not afraid to do anything.
No.
But he just wants a little guidance.
Right. What spark plug gap should I put? You know what I mean? He's asking the right questions because he doesn't know. And when you do that, you know, it's hard for me or Noah to go in and know what you know, right? It's hard for me to know, like, yo, does this guy know that we need like a 16th thou plug gap?
Right.
Like, do I want to say it and just like make this guy feel like he's a fucking idiot?
Right.
Saying some shit he already knows, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, when you just tell me like, hey man, I do it all, I don't know shit, it almost makes it easier, right?
Definitely.
Right? Because then you could get in there and be like, the tires are going here, the weight's going here, we're doing this with the plugs, empty the catch cans, put the charger on it, you know what I mean?
And I'll tell you what, those kind of people are the ones that will be the most successful the quickest.
100%. Luke Glass.
Yeah.
Yep.
But like somebody like me, I might be a little stubborn. And
no.
Oh, figure it out and end the podcast.
End podcast. Clip it, boys.
But like, I like to figure out stuff on my own.
Yeah.
That's just kind of me. I like some guidance here and there, but like, I would never like pay an outside tuner to come to the track with me or anything like that. I would like.
Let's stop you right there. If you were to pay anybody but me, and I would never ever charge you a single dollar in my life, right? But if I found out that you paid,
oh no,
how would you want me to react to that?
Not where I was going.
Have you done this before?
No.
Oh my God, boys!
That's why it's taken me 7 years to figure out how to do this. But no, I like just figuring stuff out on my own and things like that. And a lot of times you learn that the hard way and spend more money and do it the wrong way. And
all right, let me tell you, if you want, I'm going to sum up Noah again for the fourth time, right? All right, so like, you know, like I said, me and Noah get together every now and again, and he'll send me some data, whatever. We'll talk about a situation, and I'll make a suggestion. You know, let's say for example,
you about to talk about 4-link stuff?
We could use the 4-link.
Okay.
We could also use the traction control, dude. So early on, I remember being like, we're starting to run at Dig or Die, West Virginia, whatever the case may be, and I'm like, hey man, we need to
Nutty
run
money,
right? And I'm like, we really need to be running a traction control, and he goes, fuck that, never gonna run that shit, right? And I'm like, okay, idiot, right? And then like a year later, he calls me up. Dude, he's done this to me forever. He'll call me up like 6 months, a year later. He'll be like, dude, I got this sick idea. Right? And I'm like, no shit, let me hear it. He goes, I'm going to run traction control. And then that's it. That's the whole thought, right? And I'm like, Noah, you're fucking with me right now, right? You're like, and he's like, no, what do you mean? I'm like, Noah, we talked about this a year ago. You told me to go fuck my own fist, right? And then now it's a good idea because dude, that's happened with drive shaft curves, 4-links. Go on, you could tell them.
So this is all
3-speed transmissions.
It's all 100% true, but way exaggerated.
Not exaggerated.
It's exaggerated.
That's how I feel.
Okay.
All right?
So in your head, that's how it's going.
That's how I feel.
And in my head, I originated it.
Yeah. Well, we do know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
End podcast.
End podcast, dude. We're out of here. Yeah, dude. So, all right. Good times. We've gone long enough.
Yeah.
Hour and a half.
I think we talked about how it all started, and it was all like a group thing between us.
Yeah, and you know, this is my first time I've ever done it. I mean, I can tell you just from this right now, like the first half hour, I'm gonna say was awkward for me, but now it feels fine.
Yeah.
I hope that's not the case every time I do this. I do. So like, I have a lot of people that I can do this with that are bad dudes, right? That we want to hear the stories from. So I'm hoping I don't suck at it so much in the beginning every time, but we'll see.
I think that went good throughout.
Yeah.
The whole deal.
I'm going to play it back and we'll see what's up.
Yeah.
All right. Well, sick. I don't know who I'm going to have on next. I might not even do another one. I might listen to this back and be like, what a fucking disaster.
We might have to redo it.
We might have to redo it. This might not be recording. I don't know. I don't know how to work this thing. Jimmy gave me no instructions. Who knows?
Yeah.
Right? The light's red. That's all I can tell you.
Camera's on. The TV's on.
The TV's on. We'll probably get banged for copyright infringement.
Yeah.
This guy's probably going to sue me, take my house. Kids can't go to college. You know what I mean? So we'll see what happens. Yep. I plan on, I don't know, once a month, once a week. I have no idea. We'll see how it goes. But, thanks for watching. If you watch this, and I'll probably, if you're watching one of the like this podcast specifically, you're probably going to get asked to come on the podcast. You know what I mean? Because it's going to be my close friends that are watching it, I assume.
Yep.
So, be prepared for that phone call. All right. Thanks.
And podcast.
And podcast. Goodbye.